Hey, Charlie Brown, you want to direct our Christmas play this year?
Me? Really? I don't know anything about it.
Well, that's okay. I can help you. We have shepherds and angels. We even have a Christmas queen.
I don't know. Christmas is always kind of a rough time for me.
I understand that. I get depressed around Christmas. I always get really dumb presents like books and toys and stuff. I never get what I really want.
Well, what is it that you really want?
Real estate.
Lucy was a strong-willed, smart, and sassy girl who didn't show her vulnerability very often. At the end of the Great Pumpkin, we see her picking up her little brother Linus out of the pumpkin patch and tucking him into bed. She taunts Charlie Brown, but includes him in their activities, like trick-or-treating or the Christmas play. She even flirts a bit, asking him if she would be the perfect Christmas queen.
Did she secretly crush on him but was too proud to show it? I mean, let's face it, Charlie Brown was, well, the Charlie Browniest. She also flirted with Schroeder, the musician extraordinaire, but he wasn't having any of her antics. I think his eyes were set on Sally. Did he know that she had feelings for Charlie Brown? And then there was Peppermint Patty, who clearly had feelings for Chuck. And Charlie Brown was crushing big on the little redheaded girl. What a tangle of emotions.
As a person who has experienced deep loss, sometimes we close off our tender feelings. We fear being vulnerable again, scared to risk our hearts, and certainly afraid to connect with someone new. How could we possibly start over?
I love connecting with people. Every career choice I've made puts me in front of people, and I enjoy bringing joy. At the same time, I've learned to be guarded. My past includes feelings of abandonment and not measuring up. I was heavily gaslit into thinking that there was a lot wrong with me in my last relationship. And sadly, I believed it. It wasn't until I started connecting with emotionally healthy people that I grew to accept myself, freckles and all. This gave me the perspective to be myself in all situations. I was done walking on eggshells and people-pleasing. Surely this attitude would prevent me from successfully dating anyone. And I certainly wasn't going to expose myself to more damaging behaviors. And who would want to date a middle-aged woman raising teenagers?
Me.
You're very brave. I was talking about my insecurities with Charlie Brown one day, and my body image isn't a good one. So we were talking about the challenges of potentially dating again. Obviously not dating each other, because that was off the table.
Yep.
Yeah, we're doing that. And I was feeling really vulnerable about myself and putting myself out there. I didn't do so well in my 20s dating. I certainly had no hope for dating in my late 40s, early 50s. And my biggest concern was my middle-aged mom of four body and my chunky girl attitude about myself. And Charlie Brown, what did you tell me?
I said that if most men are honest with themselves, they prefer a woman with curves. They prefer a woman who's natural, who's real.
I didn't believe him, and I kind of flipped out, like I did so many times, and I flipped over to my computer keyboard and said, so what exactly do I type in here in the search? Freaky guys who want to date fat women? And it was really disrespectful of me to say that. He looked a little hurt. And he wasn't thinking of himself.
I was not. Even when I told you that the only way you would be alone is if you chose to be.
Anyway, it was an awkward moment. I'm not very kind to myself sometimes.
So our scripture today, Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
That scripture certainly carried me forward and still does. We clearly had love for each other, but it was a friendly love. We were concerned about each other.
Yes, absolute friendship.
Yeah, we wanted the best for each other, whatever that was. We watched out for each other. He'd stop by my business just to chat and just to see what I was doing, tell me how he was doing. We were just there to lighten each other's moods, lift each other's burdens, just like the scriptures tell us to. Mourn with those that are mourning, and then just be there for each other. There was no thoughts of being romantically involved. So maybe you have somebody in your life that is that person for you, that just sort of shows up when you need them to and lifts your burdens, but you're not feeling romantical about them yet. So I know I wasn't feeling that yet, but he was kind and he made me laugh and he helped me out. And he let me know that I wasn't alone. I loved him, but I wasn't in love. Or was I? It was so confusing.
I knew what you were going through because I had been the person that you were dealing with at one time in my past. And I knew that sometimes just having a little levity, putting a smile on my face, doing something goofy with myself would maybe put a smile on your face. Having some compassion for you, understanding, I couldn't possibly understand what you were going through in the moment because I'd never been there. I was on the other side of that. But from that perspective, I knew what you were dealing with, if that makes sense.
So that was part of my fear. So I was getting a divorce from somebody who was very controlling and manipulative and had anger issues and all of those good things. Not really good things. That's why we were getting a divorce. Anyway, and you were a self-prescribed person who used to be that guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In your past.
Yes.
And then you fixed it.
Yeah, I killed that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you were a new person, raised in God and...
By the grace of God.
Right.
Yep.
So why on earth would I want to make myself vulnerable to somebody who I knew had those capabilities? That was my biggest worry. That I was going to put myself out there to somebody and fall right back into that same trap. Because I'm a people pleaser. I want to make everybody happy. And that can be dangerous sometimes.
It can be very self-destructive.
It can. And then God just put it on my heart that nobody was going to understand what I was going through and deal with some of my emotional baggage better than somebody who had been through it themselves. So you understood what I was going through. Literally understood.
I understood not what you were going through, but what you were dealing with.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, you called it. Every time I would say, hey, this is happening, you would call the next move. And you were 100% accurate every time because you knew the playbook.
I had lived in that playbook.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was relieving to me to know that there was somebody else out there that understood this because I was feeling very alone at the time. Yeah. So in that process, the feelings for each other started to build because we were building a foundation of trust and respect for each other. We didn't go into this with an immediate infatuation with each other.
No.
Because that can be kind of fleeting.
Yes.
So what is the difference between loving somebody and being in love with somebody? There's the age-old question that people ask a lot, and that's what we're talking about today. And there are some distinctions between the two. We can love without being in love. I mean, thankfully.
Yes.
Love our family and our friends. But being in love without loving is just infatuation. That's just crushing on somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I have some man crushes. I love them. I'm not in love with them.
That's good. That
Yes.
makes me feel a whole lot better about our relationship now.
It's a very big difference, yes.
So lust isn't big enough to make a relationship last.
Oh, heck no.
Yeah, that's just a fleeting...
Lust exists until, typically 3 to 5 minutes into the first contact?
I don't know. I guess that depends on what
And
kind of
then-
contact you're talking
And then
about.
if that's all it's based on, moving on, right?
Right.
Who
Yeah.
wants that?
I'm sure there are people that want that, but that wasn't what I was interested in.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet they take a lot of penicillin, too.
I'm willing to bet. Yeah, yuck.
Nope.
So I found a really good blog that I'll share with you, and they talked about the 5 love levels. So last time we talked about the 5 love languages. I'm not sure why there's always 5 of something, but anyway. This time we're talking about levels of love. And
there are more, but we'll just touch on these.
Right. I'm sure there's a lot of sub-levels to all of these, but these are a really good outline of kind of how love works. So level 1 is just liking somebody. It's a friendship, usually based on common bonds, on similar interests or activities, and we want the best for that person. We don't want to be in their life to the point of always being in their life, but
I don't want to live with them.
Right. We just want them to be happy.
Yes.
And that's where we started, for sure.
Well, of course.
Level 1. Yeah.
Or maybe 0.5. I don't know that it was a full 1 yet. Yeah.
Well, the 0.5 might have come when we knew each other before.
Right.
Yeah, before we fell into our pit of griefs. Yeah. Then there's level 2, which is affection and emotion. And this is fueled by a human need to be connected on a deeper level with somebody. It might feel like being in love, but it could just be a fleeting burst. As you get to know somebody better, you realize, maybe I don't want to be connected to this person.
Yeah. Oh, they leave their clothes laying on the floor and they haven't done their dishes for 3 weeks. That's not going to work.
That could be a thing.
Yeah.
Or there's a trust issue. They're still talking to an old girlfriend, or,
Yep.
I've caught them in a lie, or I actually don't know what they do for a living, or how much money they have, or whatever the thing is. The affection part can definitely come and go. Level 3 is conditional commitment, and this is the if level. So if you make me happy, I'll stay. This is a level a lot of people just get stuck in. I think a lot of people stop right here. In this level, the trust is starting to build up, but a lot can teeter here if you're not managing it with intention. So a lot of people have conditional love for somebody. And I mean, that's different than setting a boundary, because if you go and cheat on me or you hurt me somehow, this isn't going to last. I think that's reasonable.
I say that's incredibly reasonable.
But if you are
if I cheat on you and you're giving me an if, wow. You're super nice.
I'm super nice. Might give you something more than that.
I would fully expect, run, rabbit. Yeah.
I even gave you a warning to say run.
Right? Because you're nice.
Because I'm a people pleaser. I'm a people person. But if you're the person who does have a problem with socks or dishes, we can get by that. We can get through that one.
Sure.
Yeah. Then there's unconditional commitment. This is where we're really getting someplace. This is where we're getting to being in love with somebody. There's no more ifs. There's just healing and dedication to each other. You've created a foundation to trust and respect for each other. Love is freely given here. This is where you're loved for who you are, not a future or past you. You're not loved because of what you can do for me or what I can do for you. You're just loved for who you are. Freckles and all.
As it should be.
Yeah. Hair or no hair.
If I'm going to make it to that point in the relationship, I should have learned to trust you by that point. Or if you've given me reason not to, then perhaps that part of the relationship won't be reached.
Right. And then the last one is sacrificial love. And I think this is actually could be redefined as spiritual love. It doesn't mean that you'll jump in front of a train for somebody. I mean, that is certainly included here, but it's where, more importantly, our boundaries can come down and we can be purely vulnerable with somebody. And this takes a lot of time to get to this place. But this is also where forgiveness lives, and patience and grace are the key to getting to sacrificial love.
Yeah, I would push you out of the way of a charging T-Rex and take the teeth if I had to.
Where are we going on vacation next? I'm a little concerned about
No.
the itinerary.
Who knows in this world today? They're cloning and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. The blog is called Rising Hope Counseling, and they go into depth on some of these topics. So if you want to hear more, jump over there. I found it really interesting to read through some of it. Didn't always agree with it, but I grabbed the parts I liked and put it in here.
Love means wanting what is best for that person. It's given them freedom to seek their own happiness, regardless of your involvement. Love is caring for them, but not being physically attracted to the point of wanting to be intimate. Being in love has a physical component to it. You want to touch that person, you want to get closer. You want to spend all of your time and energy with them. It may come with butterflies and sweaty palms. It does. It may feel unsure and vulnerable. It is. All of that is okay.
Do you want to talk about pheromones for a minute? I think that's a good component to feeling in love.
It can certainly play a part in it, yeah. When you're with the right person, there's just this something that reaches out and grabs a hold of you and you just know.
So how did I know I was moving from love to being in love? And I remember wrestling with this. But some things that helped me move to feeling in love, to giving myself permission. Really, it was about giving myself permission to being in love with somebody new, because that was really scary for me. But when I thought about living without Charlie Brown, I was crushed. And I thought, oh, I have deeper feelings than I was giving myself credit for. When I considered that he might be in a romantic relationship with somebody else. What if Charlie Brown did hook up with the little redheaded girl? I was feeling a little bit jealous about that. And that was new. I didn't even know I felt that way. My heart and my head fought a lot back then. My head was clearly telling me something, and my heart was telling me something different. And there's a clue that you could be falling in love too. And I started to notice Charlie Brown's physical attributes that I hadn't seen before. His shiny head is really pretty in the sunshine.
Turtle wax.
Is that the secret? I wanted to be physically close to this person. I felt empty when he wasn't around. I didn't want to say goodbye at the end of the day. Seeing him made me feel complete. And all of it was unconditional. Was I scared? Definitely. Did God help to guide me? Absolutely. Did our friends and family see our connection? Long before we did. And I still feel that way after 11 years.
Don't close yourself off to what might be right in front of you. Maybe notice the girl who wants to be your queen.
Girls often show that we like you by hitting you. Why? I have no idea. I don't know. We're too scared to touch your hand or whatever, so we punch you instead. I don't know. Next week, we'll hit a tender topic, remembering versus being reminded. How does that impact our future? Ross and Rachel from Friends will be joining us. Bring the hankies for this one. It might be a tearjerker.
I suspect.
Thank you for listening. If you like our podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. If you'd like to get our show notes or contact us, you can reach us by email. One of our ideas is to start a weekly newsletter reviewing our podcast and adding some resources for you. It can be a bit tricky to find us on YouTube or Spotify, so if you're having issues, please contact us and we'll send you the link. If you'd like to communicate with us or have our show notes, you can email us at bestrongertogether2013@gmail.com. May God bless you and keep you in the comfort of his loving arms.
By the grace of God, be stronger together. Emily, repeat after me. I, Emily, take you, Ross, as my lawfully wedded husband until death do us part.
I, Emily, take Ross to be my lawfully wedded husband until death do us part.
Ross, repeat after me. I, Ross, take Emily to be my lawfully wedded wife until death do us part. I, Ross, take Rachel to be my... Oh.